to this week's Wacky News for the week ending September the 14th, 2012. Last Monday, California residents from Riverside County to the San Fernando Valley north of Los Angeles were treated to a pungent, rotten egg aroma that came from the Salton Sea, a saltwater lake 150 miles southeast of LA. The odor was caused by hydrogen sulfide that is believed to have been from bacteria that was churned up from the bottom of the lake after a massive thunderstorm, and it became trapped by low-hanging clouds. Luckily, winds Tuesday helped clear the air. An 8-year-old boy in Cheektowaga, New York, decided to take a joyride in his mother's car. He drove down the street in his neighborhood, but when he got to a nearby road with heavy traffic, he decided he'd better turn around and go back home. On his way back, he jumped a curb, ran over a street sign, a fire hydrant, and a fence. He finally stopped on a neighbor's lawn. The police say they're not going to charge the boy for his reckless driving. Here's a Wacky News update. Last week we told you about a man swallowing a 1.5 carat diamond at a gem exhibition in Sri Lanka. I guess the man, Chow Wan, finally passed it, and it turns out that it was a worthless fake. Investigators suspect another Chinese man seen with Chow may have the real diamond worth over $13,000. In Miami Beach, Florida, a homeless man, 53-year-old David Weber, broke into a car and stole a credit card. He then went into a bar, ordered a beer, and paid for it with the credit card. That was until the bartender realized that it was his credit card. Weber's story is that he found the card on the ground, but police charged him with credit card fraud and theft and locked him up in the Miami-Dade County Jail anyway. Want to buy a skeleton? Bill Wood, who owns Old Mill Antiques in Strasburg, Pennsylvania, recently purchased 2 skeletons at an auction in Schenectady. The male skeleton, which is dressed in a tuxedo, went for $900, and his Bible-carrying female counterpart went for $950. It's believed that the two are either German or Irish origin and lived in the late 19th or early 20th century. They were once owned by a New York Mortician's Museum and then the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, where the clothes were probably added. Wood said he bought the skeletons to go along with another one he has in his shop and plans to resell all 3. I guess you could say 35-year-old Jackie Hatter of Uniontown, Pennsylvania, was taking her business to the streets. It seems she was flagging down drivers at an intersection in the city and offering to take her clothes off for cash. Police jailed her on charges of disorderly conduct and marijuana possession. When she was arrested, police say she was mumbling incoherently and fighting with them. Guinness World Records has declared 40-year-old Kazuhiro Watanabe, say that real fast 3 times, as having the tallest mohawk that stands 3 feet 6.8 inches tall. Watanabe says he's been growing the mane for the last 15 years as a way to rebel against the conformity of Japanese society. He says it takes stylists 2 hours, a can of gel, and 3 cans of hairspray to make the mohawk stand upright. Lynn Taylor of Warwick, Rhode Island, has been accused by her neighbors of violating an animal noise ordinance. Taylor taught her cockatoo, Willie, to cuss, and the neighbors say that Willie has cussed at them at times for up to 15 minutes. What makes this story so interesting is that Taylor's neighbors are her ex-husband and his girlfriend. A small fine is imposed on any pet owner whose animal creates habitual noise. The judge in the case issued restraining orders to the 2 women and told them not to have any contact with each other. Now, this is what you have to call a loyal customer. 90-year-old Arthur Reed has hardly missed a day of drinking at the Griffin Pub in Warmley, Gloucestershire, England, since 1940. On his 90th birthday, he was honored for his 72 years of patronage with a special plaque in the corner of the pub where he sits every day to drink his Courage beer from his very own pint glass. Reed said, "I've always worked hard and enjoyed visiting the pub. I've never seen the need to go much farther. I've been coming here a long time and hope I can carry on for some more years to come." He has never been married or had children, but enjoys keeping animals, and his favorite pastimes include skittles, darts, and of course, visiting his beloved pub. It doesn't get much wackier than this. 3 men were arrested in Delhi for trying to board a flight with small primates hidden in their underwear. During a frisk, security guards at the Indira Gandhi International Airport noticed a bulge in 2 of the men's underwear. They were trying to hide loris monkeys. Now, I don't think that was the smartest place to hide these nocturnal and carnivorous animals, since they have a toxic bite. However, I'm told that poachers of these small primates pull out their teeth with pliers to make them safe to handle and to have as pets. Loris monkeys have become a popular exotic pet in recent years, despite alarms raised by conservationists that the trade is contributing to their demise in the wild. In Atlanta, Georgia, when Emily Connors returned home, she found that someone had broken into her apartment and stole her TV, laptop, and other electronics, and her 7-year-old Maltese named Plato. She received several threats from the burglar, demanding a $3,000 ransom for the dog, and she really became concerned when this guy sent her a picture of Plato with a gun pointed to her head. The police didn't want Connors to meet with the man, for they knew they were dealing with a dangerous criminal and were trying to figure out how to handle the situation. Connors couldn't wait for them to decide what they were going to do because her dog's life was in danger. So she convinced the crook to take $1,000 for Plato, but he said if she played any games with him, he would kill the dog in front of her. When she met the man in front of her bank, he strolled up as if nothing was going on and had Plato zipped up in a backpack. Connors and the man went back and forth on who was going to turn over the money or the dog first. She asked to see Plato, so the man unzipped the backpack a little, and Plato stuck her nose out and saw Connors, and she became so excited she jumped out of the backpack. The man grabbed the envelope of cash out of Connors' hand and fled. The police are still investigating this as a burglary and robbery. Now, I'm not the most romantic guy, but I don't think this would really be considered romantic by most women. A 30-year-old Russian named Alexei Bykov wanted to see if his girlfriend really loved him to death. So he hired a movie director, stuntman, makeup artist, and even a scriptwriter to stage a bogus car crash. Irina Kulikov, his girlfriend, said, "We'd arranged to meet at a certain place, but when I arrived there were mangled cars everywhere, ambulances, smoke, and carnage. Then when I saw Alexei covered in blood, lying in the road, a paramedic told me he was dead, and I just broke down in tears." But the supposedly dead Bykov, still covered in blood, jumped up and proposed to Irina. Irina said, "I was so cross I almost killed him again, but for real this time." The self-centered Bykov said, "I wanted her to realize how empty her life would be without me, and how life would have no meaning without me. I think it worked, but I promise it's the last time." Now, I don't know why she said yes to this proposal, but they were married last week. Night Moves, a New York strip club, is trying to avoid paying a $127,000 tax bill by claiming that their so-called couch sales are live, dramatic, or musical arts and performances equivalent to theater or ballet. Their attorney agrees it's not Bolshoi, but says it's good. And the club's claim is being backed by a cultural anthropologist who has studied exotic dance and has visited Night Moves. One of the club's dancers said, "It's definitely a form of art. Some girls are up there practicing for hours when nobody's in here." But state solicitor Robert Goldfarb has a different opinion. He says, if the women kept their clothes on, no one would be coming to this bar for the dance performances. In Epping, New Hampshire, Joyce Coffey was arrested 4 times within a 26-hour period for loudly playing the AC/DC song Highway to Hell and other loud music from her home, and of all other things, for throwing a frying pan. Police first issued a warning. but an hour later they were called back and arrested her for the loud music. Then, 5 hours later, they returned and arrested her again for the same thing, and then again before dawn on Wednesday. Later in the day, she was arrested again after she threw a frying pan at her nephew when he tried to stop her from throwing some of his belongings out of her house. A judge told her she should use headphones when listening to her music. In Copenhagen, 2 elephants decided to take a break from the circus and stroll down the multi-lane Worpsal past the morning traffic, trunk to tail. They didn't get far, about 1/10 of a mile, before their trainer caught up with them. The police blocked the road so Sonia, 31, and Vanamana, 41, could return to the circus site unhurt. A police officer casually said nobody was hurt, so it was just 2 elephants out for a stroll. A couple of golfers were just out playing around the golf, but when one of the men teed off on the 16th hole of Reno, Nevada's Lake Ridge Golf Course, his ball went flying straight through a window of Jeff Fleming's home, which overlooks the public golf course. Now, this teed-off Fleming had got into an argument with the 2 golfers, and I guess he wasn't satisfied, so he went and got his shotgun and fired at the twosome. He hit one of them. The wounded man was treated at the local hospital and released. As for Fleming, he was jailed on suspicion of battery and assault with a deadly weapon. In some woods in Germany, a hiker came across a spaced-out and stumbling naked monk who had been out camping. The hiker tried to help the lost monk, but he refused and wandered off. The hiker then called the police, who found the monk nearby and said he appeared disoriented and cold. It's believed that not knowingly the monk ate some belladonna berries, which are toxic and cause hallucinations. Being in a hallucinogenic state, the monk couldn't find his way back to his tent and was just wandering around in the woods. Now, one of the effects of the belladonna poisoning is a burning hot sensation, which explains why he undressed. He is now recovering back at his monastery. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Wacky News and invite you back here next week for more weird news of the world. But in the meantime, please visit our website at www.thejestermagazine.com for more fun and interesting entertainment. See you next week.